and welcome back to Random Librarian here on YouTube. Today we are going to be talking about graphic novels. So if you've been around for a little bit, you probably have noticed that I am a big fan of graphic novels. In my work as a librarian, I feel like they are a great resource to kids, to people learning a new language, to people just looking for a quicker read, but also they can be really complex and handle subjects that, I mean, you'd be happy to read in a nonfiction book that's like this thick. Graphic novels can do anything. They're great. They're versatile. I stan. So specifically as a librarian in a French language collection, catering to people who are learning French for the first time or picking up on skills that they learned when they were younger, graphic novels are a great way to introduce more complex vocabulary to that kind of audience, because graphic novels aren't like trying to dumb themselves down. They introduce everyday vocab in a way that you can kind of get a sense of what they mean through the images on the page. So when people tell me graphic novels aren't real reading, it makes me very upset. Let people live, okay? Especially because, like, I get that a lot, or I get that sometimes from parents who say that they want their kids to be like real readers doing real reading. And like, it is real reading and it feels very limiting to tell them that the way that they're doing what their parents told them to do is not good enough. I didn't really mean to go on this mini rant at the beginning of this this video, because this is actually just talking about the graphic novels that I've read so far in 2021. So, you know, take it or leave it at the beginning with this whole rant. If you have opinions, please let me know in the comments. And I hope you agree with me, because I'm a professional and therefore I'm right. So let's see. So far in 2021, the graphic novels I've been reading have been on Libby. So I'm gonna be looking down at my phone a little bit. Sorry about that if that bugs you. Since you are able to go onto Libby and search by what is currently available, it means that I can get my graphic novel fix kind of whenever. All right. At the end of 2020, I read the first 6 volumes of Saga, which is a very cool, very interesting sci-fi series that is unlike anything else I've read, because you do get to see what the characters look like and what their societies look like and what their families look like, and it's all very visual. And I feel like a lot of the time in sci-fi, either the character's appearance is kind of like glossed over and you're supposed to just assume that they look vaguely humanoid, or you get like huge paragraphs of description, which can be kind of front-loaded into novels, and in my opinion can make it kind of harder for people to get into the actual story, which is a bummer, because I love sci-fi and fantasy, and I think more people would if they didn't have to like read through these like descriptions and like try to figure out what that looks like. Which might be why Saga is pretty popular. So if you haven't read Saga so far, it is the story of 2 characters who are from opposing planets in an intergalactic war that has kind of taken over the entire galaxy. They've brought in other planets and other people who look very different from the characters that we have at the beginning. Basically, we have Marco, who has horns and does magic. And then we have Elena, or Alana, I'm not really sure how to say it. I'm gonna go with Elena because I knew someone named Elena who spelled their name that way. So you have Elena, who has wings and is from a country that is more like tech-based, I believe. But they are on the run because they fell in love while Marco was a prisoner of war in the jail that Elena was monitoring. And they're on the run not just because they fell in love, but also because they made a hybrid baby, and that could mess with the whole system of everyone's fighting all the time. And then things get crazy after that. There's a lot going on in this series. It is so well done and just so imaginative, and I love it so much. And I'm kind of bummed that they only have a certain number of the volumes on Libby. So I'm probably gonna have to brave an actual library once mine opens up again in order to go and get the rest of the series. So it's really, 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 really good. Oh my gosh. Also, I love their kid. Hazel is really cute. And she does like an older version of herself, does the voiceover sometimes, and it's just very, I don't know, it's very fun. It's also very graphic though, so if you don't like graphic depictions of violence, this is not the series for you. There are also like short scenes of sex, so don't read it in public. I was reading it on my phone at the at a ski mountain over a break, and I had to switch to a different book pretty quick because there were children around. But that's a different issue. Anyways, the next graphic novel that I read, so the next, all of these were ones that I read in 2021. I think Drama was the first one I read and borrowed, which is by Raina Telgemeier. And she is a very popular, like middle grade graphic novelist, I want to say. I've seen a couple of her books on the shelves when I used to work in a, English speaking public library, and they were pretty popular. There's one, I think it's called Smile, with like an emoji with braces on the cover. She has a very distinctive style when it comes to her books. And Drama is a story that follows our main character as she does stage crew for her middle school's drama program. Some of the characters I was very confused about because I was like, are they all in middle school, or do we have someone who's graduating high school? Like, what is going on here? So that wasn't fully explained. We also have a lot of romance subplots going on that don't really go anywhere. Just not super great. It felt very middle school is kind of my main thing to say about it. It's not necessarily a complaint. It's also not necessarily like a woohoo. It just felt very middle school. And I do wish that we had maybe a little bit more resolution when it came to the end of the book, just because like it kind of felt like we were right where we started at the beginning, except she realized that like someone that she had a crush on is kind of trash. One of her friends that she doesn't want to date has a crush on her. And the friend that she did want to date might be gay. And his twin brother is also gay. But that wasn't like talked about at all. Cause she asks him like, oh, thank you. Like she says basically like, thank you for telling me to the brother. And then when she's talking to the twin that she has a crush on, he's like, oh no, but like I'm not. And then he ditches her to dance to go and hang out with a boy that they both know. And she's like, I'm so confused. And honestly, I would be too. But then he's like, well, like we're just trying to figure it out. We don't know if he's bi or if like whatever, he's figuring it out. And I'm like, we haven't seen you figure this out. I don't know. I wish we saw more of his story rather than hers. I read this like a couple days ago and I don't remember any of the characters' names. It's a middle school story. For me at this point in my life, it is not the most memorable thing I've ever read. I wish that the story had been shifted a little bit just in some other direction, but it's fine. It's cute. Kind of. We have some good friendships. There's some good like female friendships in here, which I like. That's all I gotta say about that. So that's Drama. I would not be adverse to reading more of Raina Telgemeier's work. So it's not bad. Then I read Kiss Number 8 by Colleen A.F. Venable, and also Ellen T. Crenshaw. This book was so good. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, I loved it so much. Our main character, Amanda, it opens with her kind of thinking about the different kisses that she's had up until this point in her life. Most of them have been kind of like, like fine, but like not really that exciting. And then the 8th kiss is with a girl that she knows, and her dad sees it, and apparently it starts some bonkers type of events that carry on after that. So that is our like hook at the beginning, which is, I gotta say, effective. And then it jumps back a month earlier to kind of explain everything that's going on, which I do think some of that could have been done better, because there are some of the people that she's kissed up to that point we just like don't see, but then it starts in the middle and starts with, I think, kiss number 5 or something. And I was like, wait a minute, I thought we already understood that this had happened. I thought, yeah, it just took me a minute to like understand the timeline, but still very invested. So we have Amanda. She has 2 friends named Kat and Laura. She is way closer with Kat and kind of walks all over her, unfortunately. And then Laura is a better friend to her, but gets treated horribly. So I would like justice for Laura, is what I'm gonna say there. What I really liked about this book is that it is very dramatic. That's something I didn't love about the book, because the stakes felt very high for every part of the story. But what I did really like about the book is that it handles different kind of like coming of age stories in a very muddled way, because, and that sounds maybe not great, but it really did feel like I understood Amanda and what she was going through, because it wasn't just like, oh, well, I have a crush on a girl, that means I'm a lesbian. Like, I didn't like kissing these boys, that means I'm a lesbian. It was like more about the person that she was kissing and what they made her feel, and that the gender was kind of secondary. And she had a crush on a girl for such a long time, and then she gets a crush on a boy, and she's like, oh. And like doesn't really ever kind of say what her sexuality is, because she's she's in middle school or high school, like she's figuring it out. And I really liked that, actually, as a way of understanding it. Like it felt realistic. Then there's this whole subplot about a trans character that doesn't come in until like late in the book, so I don't really want to like ruin it for people. So if you don't want to understand, if you don't want to like hear all of those spoilers, keep going. Skip ahead. I'll do this when I'm done so you'll know when to stop skipping. So there's this mysterious letter that arrives. She overhears her dad on the phone and thinks that he's having an affair and cheating on her mom. And like that's the kind of real plot of the story. It's not really about her and her kisses, which I thought was really great. I thought that was very smart. I appreciated that there was just a lot going on. It wasn't just like, who am I attracted to? It's probably not the best way to put that, but like, here we are. So she overhears her dad, this mysterious letter appears. Her dad tells her mom to like get rid of it, but her mom leaves it somewhere that Amanda can find it, and it is a letter saying that like her grandfather or her grandparent really loved her and wanted her to have this, and it's like a check for a whole bunch of money. And she's like, what? So she calls both sides of her family and is like, oh, like, thanks for the card. Trying to be like, who gave this to me? Why is this so mysterious? What's going on? Huh? And then we get to see her relationship with both sides of her family. She is way, way closer to her dad than she is with her mom. Her friend Kat really doesn't like her mom. which is kind of hard to watch actually. So we have her call her mom's parents, and they have like just a normal grandparently interaction where they tell her they love her, they like make cute jokes, they have like clearly a very loving relationship. And then she goes to call her dad's parents. She's like, yeah, I'm not really supposed to be the one to contact them. Anytime we see them, my dad is the like go-between, and they just really don't have the same kind of relationship. And then she doesn't really get her answers from them because they're on a cruise. And then everything goes down. So turns out this whole time, the person that she thinks is her dad's mom is not actually his biological mom. And there is a lot of drama and trauma on her dad's side of the family, circled around his dad, so her grandfather, who's not a very great guy. And we see these flashbacks, and these are the things that I really want to talk about because that's what really made me love this book, is that her dad's biological mom was actually transgender. So that the grandparent, Sam, was kind of like a traditional house parent for their entire marriage. But when the grandfather was not at home, he would put on his spouse's suits. He would glue some of his spouse's like hair to give himself a beard. And it shows a scene where the son comes home from school and finds his dad dressed like that. And he's really young, so he just like dances around with the dad, and they have like a little snuggle, and it was really lovely. Like, there's this intersection also where the dad is talking about it as an adult, saying like, I knew it was wrong, like all of these things that he had probably been taught afterwards by his abusive father, about like how what his dad was doing was wrong, and that dressing as a man was wrong. So we have the adult's words going over this like really touching scene from his childhood with his dad, and oh wow, it just really got me. It just really got me. And then even from there, like it just kept getting me, because Amanda goes to this diner and one of the waitresses like sees her and just like drops everything, and it's like, oh my god, that's Amanda. And she ends up finding her later because she figures out that the waitress is Sam's wife, and they have this cute relationship where they talk about, yeah, I'm very emotional all the time. I'm sorry. So they end up having this like really great relationship where Amanda gets to learn about the grandparent that she never knew she had, even though he's gone. Yeah. Oh God, I loved it so much. Loved it so much. Okay. I'm gonna take a minute to compose myself, and then I'll give you my final thoughts. You can't take me anywhere. All right, we're done with any spoilers. But anyways, I loved that book so much for its just very thoughtful and also very dramatic exploration of not only Amanda's sexuality and who she wants to be with, but also her family's story and different kinds of love and different kinds of acceptance through the generations. So, Kiss Number 8 was a big old great story for me. Oh my gosh, I just absolutely loved it. I thought that was so, so good. Next up, we had Laura Dean Keeps Breaking Up With Me, which was a story that I had first seen at the Midwinter American Library Association conference of 2020. So this was before, like right before everything that happened with the virus. Yeah, it was like a completely normal conference. And I got to see the physical book. They weren't giving them away. They weren't advanced reader copies. It was just like, this book is out in the world. If you want to buy a copy, like let us know. So I got to flip through it. It's beautiful. It is just a very like stunning art style. It is white, black, and gray, and then like different pops of pink throughout the story. And I have some mixed feelings about this book. So I'm just gonna focus on like the really great thing about it, which is that it is a story about a lesbian teen that isn't about her coming out. So I liked it for that because I think we need more stories like that. And I also think maybe I have some kind of like weird flick in my brain that I'm like, but I need something else from this book because I haven't seen enough of them. And maybe it's for other reasons also. I'm gonna talk about those as well, but like I was really glad that we had this story that wasn't kind of about her coming out, about any kind of like, you know, like it doesn't have to be a traumatic coming out, but it wasn't about that, and it made me happy. So we have Laura Dean, who is the most popular girl at school, like the person that everyone knows. She also keeps cheating on her girlfriend, which I didn't love. But our main character is Frederica. Freddie. We call her Freddie. I don't know how to say her first name in its entirety, so apologies to Mariko Tamaki. You deserve better. I have Freddie, who is in high school. I think she's 17 or 18 during the book. She has a child in kind of like a mixed family. One of her parents is, her mom is Asian and her dad is white. We see a little bit of their story and how Freddie perceives them, but then it doesn't go anywhere, which I was kind of like, you started a storyline here. What do you mean we're not gonna see the end of it? So Freddie is kind of, her perception is that her mom is just constantly annoyed by her dad. And she's like, when I was little, I thought they were like a team. I thought they were friends. But now she just seems always annoyed with him. And I'm like, okay, so is that the tension of the story? Like, is that what we're supposed to like worry about her for? But then it doesn't get addressed. Like, there's no resolution to that. So that was weird. We have her girlfriend, Laura Dean, who is like I said, the most popular girl at school. She's kind of like aloof and like a cool girl. She cheats on Freddie all the time and just like will randomly break up with her and then just like restart up the relationship whenever she feels like it, which is not great for Freddie. I will say that. Then she also has this like amazing group of friends, and I wish more of the book focused on the friends, because we have Buddy and Eric, who are like the most stable relationship in the book, but we even get a scene of like conflict between them that we don't see resolved, which I was like, give me a book about Buddy and Eric. I would like that. And then we also have her best friend, Doodle. And Doodle has a whole crazy storyline that we do see resolved, but I would have liked to see it from her perspective because Doodle has an affair with a married man. Also, Doodle is also like the same age as Freddie, so at most she is 18. She's probably 17. And like the whole statutory rape thing never gets addressed. He's a married man who's part of her, I think, some kind of like gaming group. He's I forget the word for it, but like moderator essentially. So he's in a position of power over her. She's a high school student. He's a grown-ass adult with a wife. And she has to go and get an abortion. And the whole time you can like see in the background that Doodle is like dealing with some shit. But Freddie is so distracted by her awful girlfriend that she just like doesn't notice that Doodle is having some issues. And then she's late to take her to the abortion clinic because of Laura Dean. I was just like, ooh. And she does come to the correct conclusion, which is that Laura Dean ain't shit. They break up. Laura Dean yells F you at her, which is super fun. But it's the first time that Freddie has broken up with Laura and not the other way around. And then she is like, I realize that when I'm with you, I am an awful friend. And that's kind of why they break up. And I do really love also that they put friendship on the same level as relationship. Because I think so often the idea is no, love in the sexual romantic sense is more important than platonic love and like your friends. And I would disagree. So I really enjoyed that this book agreed with me. So there we go. But like I said, I just wanted the other perspectives more. Like I'm hoping that they're setting this up as a series because I would like a spin-off book for the parents. I would like a spin-off book for Buddy and Eric. I would like a spin-off book for Doodle because Doodle and Freddie have this thing where they get like thrifted stuffed animals and like thrifted things and turn them into something new. And that's really cute. I would like more of that. Like, yeah. We also have like older characters that they meet. Freddie keeps bumping into an older, I think she identified it as just like queer and not lesbian, but older college-aged woman that like brings her out different places, shows her that there's life beyond high school. I would like a spin-off for her as well because at one point Freddie makes out with her best friend, with who I think is named Mo, and then we get this scene between them where she's like, you know, you're not the first person to make out with Mo in front of me. She's like very attractive. I understand why you did it. And then I'm like, wait, I want that story. Like, how do they get together? I want to know. So yeah, I want this book to either be like 5 times longer and delve into all of that, or I'm gonna need another 4 books. Sound fair? I hope so. So that is Laura Dean Keeps Breaking Up With Me. Then let's see. I currently have a whole bunch of these things on here. So what I am currently reading is a book called Bloom by Kevin Panetta, which is about a boy who wants to leave his family bakery and go to the city with his band in order to kind of live his life that way. His family didn't have enough money because the bakery is struggling to send him to school to study music, so this is his way of pursuing his dream. But in order to do that, he needs to find a replacement for the bakery because, like I said, the bakery is struggling. So that is how he meets boy who was there to clear out, I think, his grandmother's house, and who bakes and loves to bake and wants to bake professionally. So that's how they meet. I believe as they are like training the replacement, they fall in love. But I'm not there yet. I'm only 20% into the book. Then I also got Good Talk by Mira Jacob. Good Talk is a beautiful and eye-opening, which is a quote from Jacqueline Woodson, hilarious and heartrending, a quote from Celeste Ng, graphic memoir about American identity, interracial families, and the realities that divide us. So I think that one's gonna stomp on my heart. I might not be ready for it, but I'm excited for it. And then I have Anya's Ghost, which I believe is another middle school or middle grade storytelling. And it's about Anya, who could really use a friend, but her new BFF isn't kidding about the forever part. Of all the things Anya expected to find at the bottom of an old well, a new friend was not one of them, especially not a new friend whose, and then it stops, but I'm assuming it's gonna say, is a ghost. And I actually just saw someone on my Bookstagram feed talking about this book, so I'm really excited to read it. I'm really glad that it was available for instant loan. And that's kind of what I've been reading and what I'm planning to read so far in 2021. So I would love to hear your thoughts about graphic novels, whether it's the ones that I have mentioned today or ones that you think I should read, because I will read them. So I never know how to end these things, but I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know if you did, and seriously tell me what to read next, because I would really, really appreciate it. In any case, I will probably see you soon with more librarian or book or library or librarian rant type video. Go read a graphic novel. Bye.